The Battle of the Bergs took place in Minnesota Thursday night. Would Wartburg come away victorious for the 4th straight year?
And Wartburg's very own Ultimate Frisbee team kicked off their season last week. We'll take a look inside the Wartburg B-52s.
Plus, the basketball teams were on the road twice last week, and we have all the highlights.
And welcome back to our weekly Wartburg sports show, The Setup Men.
And we have plenty of Knights athletics to get to. Wait, what did you just call the show?
Well, The Setup Men.
That's our radio show on Thursday nights. This is TV.
Oh yeah, I was kind of wondering why there were cameras.
All right, well, now that we have that settled, let's get to the highlights. Last Thursday, the Wartburg wrestling team headed to Minnesota to face Augsburg. It was an exciting night for the Orange and Black as it was Coach Miller's last battle of the Bergs. SportsKnight's Shelby Granath followed the team to Augsburg, so let's see how they did.
At 125 pounds, number 7 Gilberto Camacho won by a 12-5 decision with the help of a takedown and this near fall. Then it was number 1 Kenny Anderson for the Orange and Black. Anderson dominated and earned his 20th win of the season with an 18-1 tech fall. At 141 pounds, the Knights recorded their first loss as Andrew Johnson lost by an 8-3 decision. With a few takedowns, number 1 Cody Silvestri improved his winning streak to 11 on the season with a 13-3 major decision, giving the Knights a 12-3 lead. Up next was number 3 Cole Welter. This reversal and near fall later on helped Welter get the 11-0 major decision. At 165 pounds, it was time for number 1 Landon Williams. He recorded a 4-0 decision for the Knights. Williams now has a team-best 27 wins on the year. Number 5 Dylan Azinger fought hard for the Orange and Black and won by a final of 9-4. Next up was number 5 Sam Upaw, who improved his season win streak to 7 with an 11-3 major decision win, putting Wartburg up 26-3. Number 7 Puna Soriano had an exciting match for the Knights as he went into overtime with the score tied at 8. Right away, Soriano got the 2-point takedown to win 10-8. And finally, it was number 6 Ryan Fank up against number 1 Chad Johnson. Unfortunately, the number 1 ranking was too much for Fank, and he lost by a final of 6-1. In the end, Wartburg came out on top by a final of 29-6. Not only was this a big win for the season, but it was also a big win for Coach Miller's last Battle of the Bergs.
Tried not to think about it, but I had a lot of Augsburg alums come up and say hello, and it was pretty cool. It's nice to get a big win the last one.
Every dual meet now is his last dual meet facing a specific team, so anytime we get a chance to go out there and wrestle any real team, you just got to dominate.
Reporting for SportsKnight, I'm Shelby Granath.
Next up for the Knights is this Friday as they host number 14 Co for the Iowa Conference Championship duel. That duel will be shown live on Wartburg Television and KCRG 9.2. It's set to begin at 7 p.m.
On Thursday, the Wartburg women took on the Dubuque Spartans. SportsKnight's Ryan Jorgensen was there to catch all the action. Early on, it was the Knights with the early lead as Kaylee Kladivo hits the turnaround jumper here. But the Spartans fired right back as Molly Whiting hits a 3 from the corner. And a couple of plays later, she spins through the lane for 2, seen here. The game was back and forth with 11 lead changes in the first half. But the Knights' Bailey O'Brien gets her past her defender for 2 right here. But at the end of the first half, it was the Knights with the advantage as Carly Jacobs hits a buzzer at the 3, putting the Knights up 20-22 at halftime. In the second half, it was a very intense game as Dubuque was able to play a little 2-on-2 and then get the easy layup seen here. Dubuque also got another 3 from Molly Whiting, and then a few plays later, she drives through the lane and makes the bucket and draws a foul. She would make the free throw, keeping the game close. But on the Knights' next possession, Bobby Burrows nails a 3 to put the Knights back up on top, and Abby Weideman then out-hustles the Spartans down the floor to get the bucket and the foul. Later on in the game, Bailey O'Brien makes a key layup, and then Kaylee Kladivo makes another jump shot seen here. The Spartans did have the lead, but Carly Jacobs hits this 3, giving the Knights the lead with 20 seconds left. But on the Spartans' following possession, they gave the ball to Molly Whiting and makes this floater in the lane.
Second round of conference. Every team knows you. We know each other. It's hard to score because everybody takes away your strengths, and does a good job. Every team's well coached, so it's just a grind.
The loss dropped the Knights to 12-8 overall and 5-4 in the conference. Bailey O'Brien and Abby Weideman both scored 12 points for the Knights in a losing effort.
The men played Dubuque right after the women, so let's see how they did. The men started off the game with a 7-1 run. The first 2 points off a nice pass from Brandon Flanor to Clay Cook, hits the layup, drawing the foul, and makes the free throw. On the next couple possessions, they tap out the rebound. Drew Crawford, he hits the tray, and the Knights are rolling. Then the Spartans started to come alive as Lucas Ware shuttles the ball to Mitch Michaelis. He pulls up from 3 and hits it. And then on the next possession, Michaelis hits from long range again. On the other end, the Knights' Thomas Perkins finds Tanner Kramer, makes the defender miss, and steps into the long 2-pointer and drains it. For the Spartans, Michaelis finds Ware for the open 3. Game is tied at 14 early. Eddie Deemer was back in action. He comes off the bench, makes a strong offensive move, and scores the easy 2. Then later in the first half, Mitchell Murphy finds Trevor Dismore in the corner for a 3. Murphy tallied 4 assists on the night. At the half, Spartans up 36-33, but in the second half, Michaelis hits another 3. He had 28 points on the night. Then for the Knights, Dan Van Groningen answers with a 3 of his own. In a little over 12 minutes, we had a 1-point game. Michaelis was just too much for the Knights, adds another 2, and then he finds Andre Norris, who also made his basket for 2. Knights had a rough game offensively in the second half, as this Eddie Deemer questionable charge call pretty much describes what went wrong for Wartburg.
Yeah, it's our same game plan is to come out fast, come out hard, to defend better than we did tonight. We're trying to keep it really simple, obviously, with a quick turnaround, 1 day of prep prior to playing on Saturday afternoon. So we've got to play a lot better than we played tonight, no question.
The loss dropped the Knights to 11-8 overall and 6-3 in conference. Senior Mitch Murphy scored 20 points, 5 away from his career high.
After the break, find out if the nationally ranked Wartburg track and field teams could capture a title at their home meet. Welcome back to Sports Night. Last weekend, the Wartburg track and field team was in action at its own Wartburg Select. On the men's side, number 15 Wartburg won the meet with 222.8 points. The Knights won 6 events, including the 600, 500, the 400, 600, and 5,000 meter run, 60-meter hurdles, 4x400 meter relay, and shot put. Tim Flores broke a 41-year-old school record in the pole vault with his height of 4.35 meters. On the women's side, number 2 Wartburg placed second with 200 points. University of Wisconsin Lacrosse won the meet with 234.5 points. The women won 5 events, including 60-meter hurdles, 4x400 relay, triple jump, shot put, and weight throw. The Knights returned to action this weekend as they split between the Iowa State and University of Wisconsin Platteville meets.
The women's basketball team only got 1 day of rest as they were looking to bounce back from a loss Thursday when they took on Central on the road Saturday. Starting things off, Allison Emmerich breaks the scoreboard silence to give the Knights a lead 2 minutes in. But the Dutch controlled for the rest of the half, in part thanks to this jumper from Callie Richardson. Central goes into halftime with a 6-point lead. The second half would be a game of runs, as Abby Weideman helps dig Wartburg out of a 9-point hole by speeding past their defender for the layup. Central would take momentum back with a tray from Alyssa Schwartz to go back up 9 with 11 minutes left. The orange and black would get things under control though, tie it up at 38 after this Weideman layup. The Dutch seemed to take control down the stretch with another 3 from Schwartz to go up 8 with 4 minutes left to play. But Wartburg didn't count themselves out. Bailey O'Brien hits a 3 to close the lead to 5. Then on the next possession, freshman Bobby Burrows drains a 3 to bring the Knights within 1 possession. After O'Brien hit a couple free throws to tie it up, sophomore Alyssa Sager tries to win it at the buzzer, but the shot clanks off iron, and we're headed to overtime. In the extra session, Wartburg gets ahead early when O'Brien spins past her defender for the layup. Abby Weideman then seals the win for the Knights with this jumper here to extend the lead to 6. Wartburg wins this one 55-49. O'Brien led the Knights with 19 points and 12 rebounds, while Weideman added 12 points. The women are now 13-8 overall and 6-4 in conference play, tied for second with Loris.
The men were also looking to sweep the season series against Central when they traveled to Pella on Saturday. SportsKnight's Justin Zacconi was there to get us all the highlights. Central came out of the gate hot as junior Brandon Stubbs nails one from 3 to give Central an early lead. But big sophomore Clay Cook stays active after the miss to get the and one here and tie the game up at 13-all. The Dutch would come back though as junior Matt Greenfield muscles his way up for an and one to put the Dutch up 5. Wartburg came right back though as Tanner Kramer hits an open jumper to put the Knights up 4. They kept that slim lead going into the break, but it was whittled down even further. Just like the first half, Central came out firing as KJ Cool hits the jumper over Thomas Perkins to go ahead 3. The Orange and Black got back into it though, thanks to this nice slam by Eddie Deemer. A few possessions later, Deemer would get back into things and sneak around the defender's arm for the layup and the 5-point lead. Wartburg appeared to be in control, but the Dutch didn't stop fighting. Senior Nick Marankovic hits the triple here to tie things up at 60 with 8 to play. There was a scoring drought over the next several minutes, but Central still managed to find buckets when they needed them, and they catch the Knights D-napping here to take a 2-point lead. From that point on, though, it was all Wartburg as Trevor Dismore hits the big 3 to put his squad ahead for good. Central couldn't claw back as Wartburg hit their free throws down the stretch to pull away for the 76-70 victory. Trevor Dismore, Mitchell Murphy, and Clay Cook each scored in double figures for the Knights, who now sit at 12-8 overall and 7-3 in the IIAC. One game back off their first place between Luther and Buena Vista.
Coming up next, we stick to the court and shine our senior spotlight on a key player for the men's basketball squad. Welcome back to Sports Night. The men's basketball team has picked up their game in conference play thanks in large part to some talented seniors.
This week we take a look at one of those seniors, Drew Crawford.
In order to be a successful team in any field, everybody needs to understand their role. This is no more evident than in basketball. While the flashier players get the headlines, the glue players keep the coherence together. For the Wartburg men's basketball team, senior Drew Crawford is that guy.
He was ill over the Christmas holidays, and we played in a tournament and did not play very well, and we reflected on that and we said, well, Drew is our glue guy and we really need to get him back in there.
Crawford came to Wartburg as a smooth shooter playing sparingly as a freshman. His playing time and skills have increased over the last couple seasons. But the biggest development came last year when Coach Pace approached him about a change.
It was just something Coach came to me, I think it was before the Luther game last year, and said we're going to throw you down low a little bit. I think we can really stretch the defense, and it's worked out since then. Him
stepping out on the perimeter and shooting the 3-ball really opens it up for the rest of our post players down low.
The strategy has paid off for the Knights, who are in 3rd place in the IIAC with a 6-3 record. Crawford is happy to see that Levick is rocking again.
Seeing Levick Arena getting full again has also been a huge thing. It's been really fun to come in here and have teams, worried about going against our student section.
Wartburg has missed out on the conference tournament the last 2 seasons. Crawford says he feels that luck and a solid team from top to bottom has gotten Wartburg back to their winning ways.
Definitely the importance of just winning close games. The past 2 years we lost a lot of close games, and in this league you can't drop them. We've been fortunate to win a lot of close games this year, and that's been a big difference.
Pace believes that Crawford has been directly connected to that success.
He makes big shots. He wants to take big shots at the end of games. And then last but not least, he's one of our top assist-to-turnover ratio guys, so he does a great job of taking care of the basketball as well.
Even with his game day contributions, Pace values Crawford's off-the-court persona just as much as his on-court attitude.
Well, he just holds himself accountable for everything. And he's that guy to always respond, always communicate with his fellow players.
Crawford and the rest of the Knights team hope that can turn into postseason success. Reporting for SportsKnight, I'm Justin Zacconi.
Now joining me in the locker room tonight are Eddie Deemer and Jake Reinhardt. We'll talk to them when we come back, so stay tuned to Sports Night. Welcome back to Sports Night. I'm joined tonight by men's basketball players Eddie Deemer and Jake Reinhardt now in the locker room. And guys, what's been the biggest reason for the vastly improved record, especially in conference compared to last year?
I think the biggest reason is us playing as a team. I mean, past seasons you'd see we had great players like Jordan Sadoff, but now no game does one of us score double digits. It's different people every game, and I think that's the biggest contributor.
I'd have to agree with Jake. I'd say definitely it's just the balance in scoring, and when you don't have just one or two guys they can key in on, it makes it a lot tougher for a team to defend us.
What challenges has your new offensive style presented?
I think guarding the screen and roll, like at the top of the key, is hard for any team. And then when you have Mitchell Murphy, who's top assist player in the conference, and then Eddie Deemer rolling, I mean, and then he can kick to the wing players like Thomas. It's hard to guard because there's not one thing you can stop, because then something else opens up.
Yeah, I'd say it's tough to defend for other teams because we have so many different options. It's just we make reads, and that's how we decide what to do. And so you can't say this person can go here and do this, and you have to stop that because there's no set play necessarily.
Eddie, you're often the only big guy out there on the floor. Has that placed a lot of extra defensive and rebounding pressure on you?
Yeah, it does to a certain extent, but other guys like Trevor Dismore and even Drew is doing really good on the boards, so they help take away some of that.
With a tough schedule remaining and one game back at first place, what do you guys have to do to win conference?
The biggest thing, we just need to keep playing as a team and then play with that energy that we played with for the first 5 games. I think the biggest reason we went 5-0 to start the conference is because we felt we had something to prove to the rest of the conference. They picked us to finish last, and we just played with a fire and an energy that just teams weren't ready for.
Exactly. We just got to take it one game at a time, and we realized if we win the rest of our games in conference, then we will at least get a share of the conference title. So we just got to work and be ready to play every night.
Now, your success has attracted a lot more fans to Levick Arena this year. So what has that been like to have so much more support?
Playing with a big fan base is definitely a lot more fun. It keeps us on edge for the whole game, and when they get excited, we get excited, and we keep playing hard.
Yeah, exactly. It helps energize the guys and just makes for a great atmosphere. And I know, when we're winning games at home, it's a lot more fun for the fans, and people are just a lot more likely to come out.
Jake being roommates with point guard Mitch Murphy, do you think that gives you an extra advantage with his passing?
I don't know if he's really looking for me to shoot it, but there's definitely a connection there. I mean, you just for living with him for 3 years, you kind of got that vibe that you know what he's thinking without him actually saying anything.
Your three-point shooting as a team has just been excellent this year. What's been the biggest factor in that improvement?
Just a confidence that we have as a team. We want people to shoot. We don't have picked out players who need to shoot or who not to shoot. I mean, if you get past the ball and you're open, shoot it. I mean, we all want to play as a team. We want everyone to score. So, I mean, it's contributed to our success.
You mentioned being picked last in the conference in the preseason. What did that do to motivate you guys?
Really, we kind of felt disrespected. We knew that we were better than that, we thought, and we knew that we just had to come out and prove it because the past few years we haven't, and we knew we had the talent. We just had to put all the pieces together.
All right, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Up next, we find out what was keeping ultimate Frisbee enthusiasts up all night in Hoover Fieldhouse Saturday. Back in 2 minutes. This past Saturday, the Wartburg Ultimate Frisbee team, the B-52s, hosted its second annual all-night tournament in Hoover Fieldhouse.
Hours straight, 8 Ultimate Frisbee teams in the Midwest battled it out through the night until 6 in the morning. They called it One Night Stand.
Really tiring, and we're playing at least a minimum of 5 games, I believe. But it's just thrilling. I mean, when we're not playing, we're talking with other teams, we're getting to know what they're doing, we're playing our own special games that we have off the courts. So, I mean, it's going to be a long night filled with a lot of competition, but it's going to be fun.
As Ultimate Frisbee is growing in popularity in the Midwest, more and more students are being encouraged to join. Jacob Hoyle, a first-year student on the B-52s, expressed his excitement to join the team.
I wanted to be in Wartburg Ultimate because in high school there were some teams around my area, like schools that would have teams, and my school was small enough that we didn't have an Ultimate team, but I kind of wanted to get one together. Couldn't get that done senior year, so figured next best thing is to do it in college.
Players from around the Midwest came to seek out this season's competition and for the unique opportunity to play the game all night long.
Our team fits in with it very well, and we're glad to be here.
Although Ultimate Frisbee is predominantly male, females are highly encouraged to join.
I like having the opportunity to play with boys. They're going to support you. I mean, they're like my brothers here, and they take care of me. But also I like being able to say that even though I'm a girl, I can play with the guys.
The Wartburg B-52s work hard to support one another despite gender or age. This is what makes the team so tight-knit. Last year, the Wartburg B-52s championed the one-night stand. And this year, Wartburg went 1-3 and placed 5th overall out of the 8 teams. Reporting for Inside the Numbers, I'm Karina Devine.
Now it's time to reveal who our Athlete of the Week is. This week, our Athlete of the Week is senior track runner Larry Johnson. Johnson won the 60-meter hurdles at the Wartburg Indoor Select and was also a part of the winning 4x400 team. Johnson's performance helped lead the 16th-ranked Knights win the meet, defeating 2nd-ranked Wisconsin Lacrosse, 5th-ranked St. Thomas, and number 11 Wisconsin Platteville.
In some off-season sports news, the athletic department announced Friday that assistant volleyball coach Doug Frizzell will be promoted to co-head volleyball coach alongside Jennifer Walker. Frizzell has been at Wartburg for 3 years, in which the Knights have a combined record of 82-33 and have won 2 Iowa Conference Tournament championships. Previously, Frizzell was the head coach at West Des Moines Valley High School for 7 years. Frizzell said the program is constantly making progress and will continue to be run as normal.
Nathan, it seems like the volleyball team is following in the wrestling team's footprints a little bit after Eric Keller was named co-head coach alongside Jim Miller 3 years ago.
Yeah, and all the wrestling team's done is won a couple national championships in that time span, so we'll see how the volleyball does with their 2 head coaches.
You know, speaking of wrestling, the Knights go for their 21st straight conference tournament title Friday against Co.
Thank you for joining us.